Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The story of the dead people. Allah says, "Did you, O Muhammad, not think of those who went forth from their homes in the thousands, fearing death? Allah said to them, 'Die,' and then He restored them to life." Ibn Abu Khatim related that Ibn Abbas said that these people mentioned herein were the residents of a village called the Wardan. Ali bin Asim said that they were from Dawardan, a village several miles away from Wasit in Iraq. In his Tafsir, Waqi bin Jarrah said that Ibn Abbas commented, "Did you, O Muhammad, not think of those who went forth from their homes in thousands, fearing death? That they were 4,000 persons who escaped the plague that broke out in their land. They said, 'We should go to a land that is free of death.' When they reached a certain area, Allah said to them, 'Die,' and they all died. Afterwards, one of the prophets passed by them and supplicated to Allah to resurrect them, and Allah brought them back to life. So Allah stated, 'Did you, O Muhammad, not think of those who went forth from their homes in the thousands fearing death?' Furthermore, several scholars among the Salaf said that these people were the residents of a city during the time of the children of Israel. The weather in their land did not suit them, and an epidemic broke out. They fled their land fearing death and took refuge in the wilderness. They later arrived at a fertile valley, and they filled what is between its two sides. Then Allah sent two angels to them, one from the lower side and the other from the upper side of the valley. The angels screamed once, and all the people died instantly, just as the death of one man. They were later moved to a different place where walls and graves were built around them. They all perished, and their bodies rotted and disintegrated. Long afterwards, one of the prophets of the children of Israel, whose name was Hizkil, passed by them and asked Allah to bring them back to life by his hand. Allah accepted his supplication and commanded him to say, "O rotted bones, Allah commands you to come together." The bones of everybody were brought together. Allah then commanded him to say, "O bones, Allah commands you to be covered with flesh, nerves, and skin." That also happened while Hizkil was watching. Allah then commanded him to say, "O souls, Allah commands you to return, each to the body that it used to inhabit." They all came back to life, looked around, and proclaimed, "All praise is due to you, Allah, and there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah." Allah brought them back to life after they had perished long ago. We should state that bringing these people back to life is a clear proof that physical resurrection shall occur on the day of resurrection. This is why Allah said, "Truly Allah is full of bounty to mankind," meaning in that He shows them His great signs, sound proofs, and clear evidences. But most men thank not, as they do not thank Allah for what He has given them within their worldly life and religious affairs. The story of the dead people above also indicates that no question can ever avert destiny, and that there is no refuge from Allah but to Allah Himself. These people departed from their land, fleeing the epidemic and seeking to enjoy a long life. What they earned was the opposite of what they sought, as death came quickly and instantaneously and seized them all. There is an authentic hadith that Imam Ahmad reported that Abdullah bin Abbas said that Umar bin al-Khattab once went to Asham, Syria. When he reached the area of Sark, he was met by the commanders of the army, Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah and his companions. They told him that the plague had broken out in Asham. The hadith then mentioned that Abdurrahman bin Auf, who was away attending to some of his affairs, came and said, I have knowledge regarding this matter. I heard Allah's messenger say, if the plague breaks out in a land that you are in, do not leave that land to escape from it. If you hear about it in a land, do not enter it. Umar then thanked Allah and went back. This hadith is also reported in the Sahihan. Abandoning jihad does not alter destiny. Allah said, and fight in the way of Allah and know that Allah is all hearer, all knower. This ayat indicates that just as question does not alter destiny, abandoning jihad will neither bring the appointed term closer nor delay it. Rather, destiny and the appointed provisions are fixed and shall never be changed or altered, neither by addition nor deletion. Similarly, Allah said, they are the ones who said about their killed brethren while they themselves sat at home, if only they had listened to us, they would not have been killed. Say, avert death from your own selves if you speak the truth. Allah said, they say, our Lord, what have you ordained for us fighting? Would that you had granted us respite for a short period. Say, short is the enjoyment of this world, the hereafter is far better for him who fears Allah, and you shall not be dealt with unjustly even equal to fatila, a scalish thread in the long slit of a date stone. Wheresoever you may be, death will overtake you even if you are in fortresses built up strong and high. Abu Sulaiman Khalid bin Walid, the commander of the Muslim armies, the veteran among Muslim soldiers, the protector of Islam, and the sword of Allah that was raised above his enemies, said while dying, I have participated in so and so number of battles. There is not a part of my body but suffered a shot of an arrow, a stab of a spear, or a strike of a sword. Yet here I am, I die on my bed just as the camel dies. May the eyes of the cowards never taste sleep. He, may Allah be pleased with him, was sorry and in pain because he did not die as martyr in battle. He was sad that he had to die on his bed. The good loan and its reward. Allah said, who is he that will lend to Allah a goodly loan so that he may multiply it to him many times? In this ayat, Allah encourages his servants to spend in his cause. Allah mentioned this same ayat in several other parts of his glorious Qur'an. The hadith that mention that Allah descends every night down on the nearest heaven to us when the last third of the night remains, states that Allah says, who would give a loan to he who is neither poor nor unjust? Allah's statement, he may multiply it to him many times, is similar to his statement. The likeness of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is as the likeness of a grain of corn. It grows 7 years, and each year has 100 grains. Allah gives manifold increase to whom He wills. We will mention this ayat later on. Allah then said, and it is Allah that decreases or increases your provisions, meaning spend in Allah's cause and do not be anxious. Certainly Allah is the sustainer who increases or decreases the provisions to whomever He wills among His servants. Allah's wisdom is perfect, and unto Him you shall return on the day of resurrection. Have you not thought about the group of the children of Israel after the time of Musa, when they said to a prophet of theirs, appoint for us a king, and we will fight in Allah's way? He said, would you then refrain from fighting if fighting was prescribed for you? They said, why should we not fight in Allah's way while we have been driven out of our homes and our children, families have been taken as captives? But when fighting was ordered for them, They turned away all except a few of them, and Allah is all aware of the wrongdoers. The story of the Jews who sought a king to be appointed over them. Allah tells, have you not thought about the group of the children of Israel after the time of Musa, when they said to a prophet of theirs, appoint for us a king and we will fight in Allah's way. He said, would you then refrain from fighting if fighting was prescribed for you? Mujahid said that the prophet mentioned in the ayat is Samuel. Wahab bin Munabbi said, the children of Israel remained on the straight path for a period of time after Moses. They then innovated in the religion and some of them even worshipped the idols. Yet there were always prophets sent among them who would command them to work righteous deeds, refrain from doing evil, and who would rule them according to the commands of the Torah. When they, Israelites, committed the evil that they committed, Allah caused their enemies to overwhelm them, and many fatalities fell among them as a consequence. Their enemies also captured a great number of them and took over large areas of their land. Earlier, anyone who would fight the Israelites would lose because they had the Torah and the Tabut, which they inherited generation after generation ever since the time of Moses, who spoke to Allah directly. Yet the Israelites kept indulging in misguidance until some king took the Tabut from them during a battle. That king also took possession of the Torah, and only a few of the Israelites who memorized it remained. The prophethood halted among their various tribes, and only a pregnant woman remained of the offspring of Levi, in whom the prophethood still appeared. Her husband had been killed, so the Israelites kept her in a house, so that Allah may give her a boy who would be their prophet. The woman also kept invoking Allah to grant her a boy. Allah heard her pleas and gave her a boy whom she called Samuel, meaning Allah has heard my place. Some people said that the boy's name was Shahmun, Simon, which also has a similar meaning. As that boy grew, Allah raised him to be a righteous person. When he reached the age of a prophethood, Allah revealed to him and commanded him to call his people to him and to his Tawheed, oneness. Samuel called the children of Israel to Allah, and they asked him to appoint a king over them so that they could fight their enemies under his command. The kingship had also ended among them. Their prophet said to them, what if Allah appoints a king over you? Would you fulfill your vow to fight under his command? They said, why should we not fight in Allah's way while we have been driven out of our homes and our children? Meaning, after our land had been confiscated and our children had been taken from us. Allah said, but when fighting was ordered for them, they turned away all except a few of them. And Allah is all aware of the wrongdoers, meaning only a few of them kept their promise, but the majority abandoned jihad, and Allah has full knowledge of them. And their prophet said to them, indeed, Allah has appointed Talut Saul as a king over you. They said, how can he be a king over us when we are fitter than him for the kingdom, and he has not been given enough wealth? He said, verily Allah has chosen him above you and has increased him abundantly in knowledge and stature. And Allah grants his kingdom to whom he wills, and Allah is all sufficient for his creatures' needs, all knower. Allah tells, and their prophet said to them, indeed, Allah has appointed Talut Saul as a king over you. When the Israelites asked their prophet to appoint a king over them, He appointed Talut Saul, who was then a soldier, but Talut was not a descendant of the house of kings among them, which was exclusively in the offspring of Judah. This is why they said, how can he be a king over us? Meaning, how can he be the king for us? When we are fitter than him for the kingdom, and he has not been given enough wealth. They said that Talut was also poor and did not have the wealth that justifies him being king. Some people stated that Talut used to bring water to the people, while others stated that his profession was dyeing skins. The Jews thus disputed with their prophet while they were supposed to obey him and to say good words to him. He, their prophet, said, verily Allah has chosen him above you, meaning Allah chose Talut from amongst you while having better knowledge about him. Their prophet stated, I did not choose Talut to be your king on my own, rather Allah has commanded that upon your request. Further, and has increased him abundantly in knowledge and stature, meaning Talut is more knowledgeable and honorable than you, and stronger and more patient during combat, and has more knowledge of warfare. In short, he has more knowledge and is stronger than you are. The king should have sufficient knowledge, be fair looking, and should have a strong soul and body. He then said, and Allah grants his kingdom to whom he wills. Meaning, Allah alone is the supreme authority who does what he wills, and no one can ask him about his actions while they will be asked about their actions by him. This is because Allah has perfect knowledge, wisdom, and kindness with his creation. Allah said, and Allah is all sufficient for his creatures' needs, all knower. Meaning, his favor is encompassing and he grants his mercy to whom he wills. He also knows those who deserve to be kings and those who do not deserve it. And their prophet said to them, verify the sign of his kingdom is that there shall come to you a tabut wherein is sakina, peace and reassurance from your Lord, and a remnant of that which Musa and Harun left behind, carried by the angels. Verily, in this is a sign for you if you are indeed believers. Allah tells that, and their prophet said to them, verily, the sign of his kingdom is that there shall come to you a tabut. Their prophet then proclaimed, the sign of blessing of Talut's kingship over you is that Allah will give you back the tabut wooden box that has been taken from you. Allah said, wherein is sakina from your Lord, meaning peace or grace and reassurance. Abdul Razzaq stated that Qatada said, wherein is sakina means grace. In addition, Ar-Rabi said that sakina means mercy. This is also the meaning given by Ibn Abbas as Al-Awfi narrated. Allah then said, and a remnant of that which Musa and Harun left behind. Ibn Jarir related that Ibn Abbas said about this ayat, meaning Moses' staff and the remnants of the tablets. This is the same tafsir of Qatada, As-Sudhi, Ar-Rabi bin Anas and Ikrimah, who added, and also the Torah. Abdul Razzaq said that he asked At-Tawari about the meaning of and a remnant of that which Musa and Harun left behind. At-Tawari said, some said that it contained a plot of manna and the remnants of the tablets, while some others said that it contained Moses' staff and the two shoes. Allah then said, carried by the angels. Ibn Jurayj stated that Ibn Abbas said, the angels came down while carrying the tabut between the sky and the earth until they placed it before Talut while the people were watching. As-Sudhi said the tabut was brought to Talut's house, so the people believed in the prophethood of Shamun and obeyed Talut. The prophet then said, verily in this is a sign for you, testifying to my truth in what I was sent with, my prophethood and my command to you to obey Talut, if you are indeed believers in Allah and the hereafter. Then, when Talut set out with the army, he said, verily, Allah will try you by a river, so whoever drinks thereof, he is not of me, and whoever tastes it not, he is of me, except him who takes thereof in the hollow of his hand. Yet they drank thereof all except a few of them. So when he had crossed it, the driver, he and those who believed with him, they said, we have no power this day against Jalut and his host. But those who knew with certainty that they were going to meet Allah said, how often has a small group overcome a mighty host by Allah's leave, and Allah is with as-sabirin, the patient. Allah tells, then when Talut set out with army, Allah states that Talut, the king of children of Israel, marched forth with his soldiers and the Israelites who obeyed him. His army was of 8,000 then, according to As-Sadi, but Allah knows best. Talut said, he said, verily Allah will try you by a river, meaning he will test you with a river which flowed between Jordan and Palestine, the Shariha river, according to Ibn Abbas and others. He continued, so whoever drinks thereof, he is not of me, meaning shall not accompany me today. And whoever tastes it not, he is of me, except him who takes thereof in the hollow of his hand, meaning there is no harm in this case. Allah then said, yet they drank thereof all, except a few of them. Ibn Jurayj stated that Ibn Abbas commented, whoever took some of it, the river's water, in the hollow of his hand, quenched his thirst. As for those who drank freely from it, their thirst was not quenched. Ibn Jarir reported that Al-Bara bin Azib said, we used to say that the companions of the Muhammad who accompanied him on the battle of Badr were more than 310, just as many as the soldiers who crossed the river with Talut. Only those who believed crossed the river with him. Al-Bukhari also reported this. This is why Allah said, so when he had crossed it the river, he and those who believed with him, they said, we have no power this day against Jalut and his host.